If you have this coin, you might just be one of the richest people in the world without even knowing it. Welcome back to X Coins Hub, the channel where we uncover the hidden treasures lying in your pocket change. Today we're diving deep into one of the most fascinating, mysterious, and valuable coins ever minted in the United States, the 1955 1-cent coin. Now, before you go digging through your coin jar or that old drawer where your grandparents kept spare change, listen carefully, because this coin isn't just any ordinary penny. It's a tiny piece of American history that turned a printing mistake into a million-dollar fascination. A coin that collectors dream about, and one that, if you're lucky enough to have, could change your life. Let's rewind time to the mid-1950s. America was booming. Post-war optimism filled the air. Families were buying their first cars, television sets were lighting up living rooms, and kids were spending their pennies on soda pop and comic books. In 1955, the Lincoln cent was already an everyday coin, something you could find in every pocket and purse across the country. But what happened that year in the Philadelphia Mint would create one of the rarest and most famous coins in U.S. history. It all started with a mechanical mishap, a misalignment during the minting process. As workers prepared dies for striking new coins, one pair slipped slightly out of alignment, causing a double image to be impressed on the die. The result? A coin where every detail, from the date to the words "Liberty" and "In God We Trust," appeared twice, one slightly offset from the other. This was not something anyone intended. But before the error could be caught, thousands of coins were already mixed in with the regular batch and sent out into circulation. Imagine being a cashier in 1955 and opening a fresh roll of pennies, only to see one that looked like it was vibrating or blurry. Some people thought their eyes were playing tricks on them. Others assumed the coin was damaged. Few realized that what they were holding was a mistake so unique it would become legendary. Collectors first discovered the coin later that same year, and the numismatic world went wild. Word spread quickly. Newspapers picked up the story, and coin dealers began hunting for these double-die pennies. Suddenly, everyone wanted to find one. People raided their piggy banks and counted their change by the handful, hoping to stumble upon one of these rare coins. The charm of this particular cent isn't just in its error, it's in its story, a story of human imperfection and chance. The 1955 double-die penny became a symbol of how, even in an era of mass production, something truly unique could still slip through the cracks. It reminded everyone that history, value, and wonder can sometimes fit right in the palm of your hand. Over the decades, the fame of this coin only grew. It appeared in countless coin magazines, was displayed at coin shows, and became a holy grail for collectors both young and old. Even people who knew nothing about coins had heard whispers of that double image penny worth a fortune. It became a cultural icon, proof that mistakes can be masterpieces. What makes the 1955 penny even more fascinating is how clearly the doubling appears. On many error coins, the effect is subtle, hard to spot unless you know exactly where to look. But on this one, the doubling is bold and unmistakable. The date 1955 looks almost as if it's printed twice in red ink. Liberty jumps out, and In God We Trust seems to shimmer. Even casual observers can see that this is no ordinary cent. Because of that dramatic appearance, the 1955 double-die penny has been one of the most photographed, studied, and authenticated coins in American history. Counterfeits exist, plenty of them, but experts can easily identify the real deal by examining the precise way the doubling appears and the condition of the coin's surfaces. Today, owning one of these coins is like holding a piece of the American dream, a perfect blend of accident and art, history and rarity. Each genuine 1955 cent is a conversation starter, a collector's pride, and a reminder of a time when even the smallest mistake could turn into a national obsession. And if you're wondering how many are out there, estimates suggest only about 20,000 to 24,000 were released into circulation before the error was noticed. Of those, far fewer remain in pristine condition. Most were used, worn, and lost over the decades, making mint-condition examples incredibly rare. The ones that do surface in auctions or private sales always draw attention. Collectors know exactly what they're looking at. The charm, the rarity, and the unmistakable doubling make it one of the most desired coins in American numismatics. Now think about this. A coin that once bought you a piece of candy or a newspaper could today buy you a house, a car, or even more. The beauty of coin collecting lies in these incredible transformations of value over time. The 1955 1-cent piece is a shining example of that magic. So next time you come across an old penny, don't dismiss it. Take a closer look. Tilt it under the light. Check the date, check the lettering, and remember, treasures often hide in plain sight. The story of the 1955 penny teaches us that fortune sometimes lies not in gold or diamonds, but in a simple copper coin. Because if you're lucky enough to have one of these in your possession, you're not just holding history, you're holding wealth. And as of today, the value of a genuine 1955 double-die penny, depending on its condition and luster, can reach an astonishing $108,000. So, check your change, search your drawers, and maybe, just maybe, that little brown coin sitting unnoticed in your jar could be your ticket to becoming one of the luckiest people on earth. If you enjoyed this story and want to discover more hidden treasures like this, don't forget to subscribe to X Coins Hub, where every coin tells a story, and some stories are worth a fortune. At first glance, it looks just like any other penny, copper, worn, simple. But this coin carries a story that stretches across war, history, and human ingenuity. A story that begins in a time when the world stood on the edge of chaos. The year was 1940. The United States hadn't yet entered World War II, but the world was already in turmoil. Factories were buzzing, industries were shifting, and the U.S. Mint was working tirelessly to produce millions of coins for a growing nation. Every penny mattered, literally. Prices were low, wages modest, and the Lincoln cent remained one of the most widely used coins in daily life, the 1940 Lincoln 1-cent coin. Featuring the familiar profile of President Abraham Lincoln, was struck primarily in Philadelphia, with smaller mintages from Denver, D, and a San Francisco, S. At the time, the coin's composition was 95% copper and 5% tin and zinc, giving it that distinctive reddish-brown color that collectors still admire today. But the 1940 penny isn't just a product of its metal. It's a reflection of the era it was born into. These coins passed through the hands of soldiers, factory workers, and families preparing for an uncertain future. When you hold one, you're holding a piece of life from the early 1940s and a whisper from a time when the world was changing faster than anyone could imagine. Most people don't realize that even small differences between coins from this period can mean the difference between a common penny and a fortune. Variations in die marks, minting quality, and condition play a huge role in determining their worth. For example, coins with sharp details, minimal wear, and full red luster are extremely valuable today. Collectors pay close attention to mint marks. The 1940 coins from Philadelphia have no mint mark, while those from Denver bear a small D below the date, and those from the San Francisco show an S. While millions were produced, only a few have survived in perfect condition, untouched by circulation, their shine and details still as crisp as the day they left the mint. Now here's where things get really interesting. During this time, the minting process wasn't as flawless as today's technology. A few error coins slipped through, including off-center strikes, double-die obverse varieties, and or-punched mint marks. These errors, caused by misaligned dies or repeated stamping, created tiny imperfections that collectors today treasure. One of the most famous 1940 errors involves a subtle doubling on the words "Liberty" or "In God We Trust." These double-die examples are rare, and when found in great condition, they fetch incredible prices. Similarly, a perfectly preserved 1940S or 1940D penny with a strong strike and deep color can make collectors' hearts race. The story of the 1940 penny doesn't end there. What makes it so special today isn't just its rarity, but its connection to an era that defined a generation. Each coin that has survived has lived through decades of history, through wars, recessions, and revolutions in technology. Think about it. A coin minted in 1940 could have been used to buy a newspaper announcing the attack on Pearl Harbor just a year later. It might have passed through the hands of a soldier's family or sat quietly in a child's piggy bank during the Great Depression's recovery. For collectors, the 1940 penny isn't merely a coin, it's a time capsule. Each scratch, each shine, each subtle tone of color tells a story. And the better preserved it is, the more that story shines through. Over the decades, coin grading services like PCGS and NGC have authenticated and rated thousands of these coins, but very few have achieved the highest grades, 7 or above. Those that do are breathtaking to see. Brilliant red copper, flawless surfaces, sharp detail in Lincoln's hair, coat, and lettering. These are the coins that turn modest collections into gold mines. While the average circulated 1940 penny might only be worth a few cents, the story changes completely for pristine or error examples. Coins graded in mint state red condition, or those with recognized doubling or off-center errors, can bring in jaw-dropping amounts. Now imagine discovering one of these in your collection. A coin that survived 85 years of history, nearly untouched, gleaming as if it were made yesterday. That's not just luck. That's a once-in-a-lifetime find. Every serious collector dreams of holding a piece like that. And you don't have to be a professional numismatist to appreciate it. Just someone who loves history, mystery, and the thrill of the unexpected. So next time you're sorting through old change or rummaging through a box of coins passed down from your parents or grandparents, take a moment to check the dates carefully. Because you never know when an old copper cent could turn out to be a priceless treasure. And speaking of priceless, the 1940 1-cent coin, depending on its mint, condition, and rarity, has been known to sell for an astounding $108,000 in top-grade examples. That's right. A coin that once bought a cup of coffee could today buy a luxury car. So, check your coins closely. Because one small piece of copper could make you one of the luckiest people in the world. And if you enjoyed this story, make sure to subscribe to X Coins Hub, where every coin hides a story, and some stories are worth a fortune. If you have this coin lying somewhere in your home, you might be sitting on a small fortune without even realizing it. Welcome back to X Coins Hub, the channel where we turn everyday change into extraordinary discoveries. Today, we're uncovering the story of the Halt 1948 1-cent coin, a humble penny that carries a hidden history, an unexpected twist, and a surprising value that could make you rethink what's hiding in your pocket. At first glance, the 1948 Lincoln penny looks just like any other. Familiar copper shine, Abraham Lincoln's calm face, and the words "In God We Trust" circling proudly above his head. But behind that simple appearance lies a fascinating story from a time when America was entering a new era, a time of rebuilding, optimism, and innovation. The year was 1948. The Second World War had ended only 3 years earlier, and the United States was transforming rapidly. Soldiers had come home, families were growing, and prosperity was beginning to return. The U.S. Mint was back to producing coins in full swing, and the Lincoln cent was still one of the most trusted and widely used pieces of currency in everyday American life. That year, 3 different mints struck the 1948 penny: Philadelphia, no mint mark; Denver, D. Cardem, and San Francisco, S.N. Each one followed the same iconic design: Abraham Lincoln on the front and the wheat stalks on the reverse, a symbol of strength and growth. The composition remained 95% copper and 5% zinc and tin, giving it that warm, reddish glow that collectors love. But what makes the 1948 penny so captivating today isn't just its beauty or age, it's what lies within the tiny details. Because among the millions produced, a few came out just a little different, and those small differences can make a world of difference in value. Let's start with a bit of background. By 1948, the mint had already endured years of wartime metal shortages and production challenges. Mistakes were rare but not impossible. A few coins from that year show faint doubling on the date or lettering, known as a double die. a fascinating minting error caused when the die struck the design slightly off alignment during production. To the untrained eye, it might look like a blurry number or letter, but to a coin collector, it's a jackpot. There's also the re-punched mint marked variety, especially for the 1948D and 1948S coins. Back then, mint marks were hand-punched into the dies, which meant that sometimes the mark was slightly misplaced and had to be punched again, creating a shadow-like second impression. These details are small, but can skyrocket a coin's value if clearly visible and in top condition. Now let's talk about what condition really means in the world of coin collecting. The grading system ranges from poor, P, to mint state, MS, with MS 65, MS 66, and above being the dream grades. A coin with full red luster, sharp details, and no signs of wear can fetch massive sums. It's not just age that makes a coin valuable, it's preservation. The 1948 penny tells the story of a changing nation. After years of war, Americans were ready for peace, progress, and new beginnings. Lincoln's image on the coin symbolized unity and strength, a fitting emblem for a country determined to rebuild. Every penny that passed through hands in those years was part of a larger story. Groceries purchased, letters mailed, train rides taken. Holding a 1948 penny today connects you directly to that moment in history. What's truly fascinating is how many of these coins have vanished over time. Millions were melted down, lost, or simply worn away in circulation. That's why finding one today in mint state red condition is such a big deal. It's like uncovering a perfectly preserved time capsule. And if you think these pennies are common, think again. While there are many surviving examples in circulated condition worth only a few cents, the story completely changes for coins that remain untouched. A 1948 penny that still glows with its original red color, showing crisp lines in Lincoln's hair and coat, can easily attract serious collector attention. Collectors are drawn to this coin for its balance of history, accessibility, and potential value. It's one of those coins that teaches an important lesson, that even the most ordinary objects can become extraordinary when time and rarity take hold. There's also something deeply symbolic about a 1948 penny. It marks the first full year of post-war peace and prosperity in America, a time when coins like these were part of everyday recovery and rebuilding. They clinked in pockets as factories reopened, highways expanded, and the middle class began to rise. To own one is to own a piece of that turning point in history. And now we come to the question everyone's waiting for. How much is a 1948 1-cent coin really worth today? Well, for coins that have been heavily circulated, the value might not seem impressive, maybe a few cents or $1 at most. But for those rare, flawless examples, the ones that have survived in full red mint condition or contain unique minting errors, the story changes dramatically. Some of these pristine coins, certified by top grading companies, have sold for truly staggering amounts. The best preserved examples of the 1948 1-cent coin have reached a jaw-dropping $118,000 in private sales and high-end auctions. Think about that for a moment. A simple penny, made of copper and worth just 1 cent in 1948, now worth more than a luxury car or even a small house. That's the magic of numismatics. History, rarity, and beauty colliding in the smallest of things. So before you toss that old jar of pennies or trade them in at the bank, take a closer look. That tiny forgotten coin could hold a story and maybe even a fortune. Because if you happen to find a flawless 1948 Lincoln 1-cent coin, you might just be holding the key to an unexpected treasure worth $108,000. If you enjoyed this story and want to uncover more hidden gems like this, make sure to subscribe to X Coins Hub, where every coin has a story, and some stories are worth a fortune.